Hey, what's up? I think we got the audio working finally. Welcome to the Build Show. I'm your host over here at the Empower Gaming Studio. And tonight, yes, tonight, we are building another PC. In fact, we are at Santa's Workshop, not at the Empower Studio. I messed that up. We're at Santa's Workshop, currently working on Christmas builds. Spreading the holiday cheer. Hey, what's up? It's been a while. I haven't been here in a while. I don't know if you remember me. It's Mr. Duck. Mr. Duck. It's been a while. How's it going, man? Welcome back to the Build Show. These RAM prices are going to kill me. And yet, the RAM prices are not done. They're going to continue climbing. And we probably won't see a positive direction in RAM prices until some point in 2026. And if I were a guessing man, it would be probably late 26. So after the summer, that would be a guess. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Steve Anderson, welcome back to the Build Show. Onra, welcome back to the Build Show. Steve says, Merry Christmas. And he also says, I transferred my 5060 Ti build to another case. Now I have to put the biggest GPU in it. Well, because you have all that extra space. We kind of just entered the Matrix, or if you didn't hear it, I felt it. It was kind of like a... That was called entering the Matrix. Sometimes you have to do that to get to the North Pole. There's weird stuff that happens when you're up here. So, okay. Let's do this. Miles, I know you've been patiently waiting for this build, and I appreciate the patience because it has been insanely busy here, as well as the time it's taking to get parts here. Delay. So everything's getting delayed as it's coming in. But I will admit the parts have been here for a couple of days. I just haven't been able to get to the builds. At least I had priority builds that had to be shipped out, that had to be under a Christmas tree in a different state before Christmas. So I had to do those builds by priority and get those ones done. So we're finally on all local builds except for one other one that has to be shipped. But I think we're still waiting on a part for that one. So did you take a blue pill or a red pill? Actually, I think I took both. Is that bad? For entering the Matrix, for anybody who's wondering, who might be too young to know the Matrix, the movie. There's a blue pill, and then there's a red pill. Well, that's a vape. We're pretending we have pills in our hands. Anyway, red pill or the blue pill is the option, and usually you choose one, and that kind of determines your fate or your Matrix experience. I can't remember. It's been so long. Dev Mr. Duck says, I was laying back on not buying RAM, but now that's the only part I need. I ordered a Ryzen 7 9800X3D and a 5070 Ti. Was going to do a 5060 Ti, but that might bottleneck. I mean, 5060 Ti wouldn't have bottlenecked if it just would have ran at 100% on that CPU. I was looking around for a 4090, but those prices are basically a 5090. Yeah, 4090s are not going to come down in price. They're still a very sought-after card, even after this many... Since it's been quote-unquote out of production, it should be good. It should be down in price, and it should be at a new used price, but it's not. All right, we're gonna shift over here to the side, and then we're gonna run through the build for Miles. Yes, it was a great movie. All right, so we're going to be doing an AIM-4 build. This is a Ryzen 5 4500. So we went with more budget-friendly options. You're going to see a lot of that. Probably. Intel build tonight? No, Roy. I'm sorry. No Intel build tonight. Give you an idea, Tat, Mr. Roy. We are... If we get through 3 builds tonight, which I think we're only going to be doing 2 now, we would have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 tomorrow. Sunday or Monday would be the Intel build, if everything goes well. I'm able to get through 4 builds tomorrow, because I'm going to try to stream early. Again, I keep talking about, stream early. I'm running out of time. All these builds have to be done. So, I do admit I built one off stream yesterday. My bad. Not going to tell you who it was. It was actually an inventory build. But when the power came back up, it was like 10 o'clock, and I was like, I'm just going to build this one, get it done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so probably Sunday or Monday night is going to be the Intel build, the Core Ultra build. Going to cost me $640 for 32 gigs of DDR5. That is a higher price than I last checked. So that means I probably need to go double check my prices on my website. So I'm sure everything's gone up. RAM costs more than the GPU. Hey, what's up, Mike? Welcome back to the Build Show. Yes, it is insanely expensive right now, and it's only going to get worse. So hang on to your pants, because they're going to fly off the next time you look up RAM prices. And should you pay $640 for 32 gigs of RAM? No. No, you shouldn't. But you have to. If you want 32 gigs of RAM, yes. That is what you're going to pay. The other option is to go buy a... go to Micro Center and buy one of their power specs with 32 gigs, pull the RAM out, and then buy a 16 gig kit for what, $300 now? Throw that in there and flip the build, or hope you can flip the build for like $100. I don't know. You can figure it out. I was gonna do that for my build. I was just gonna buy a power spec, pull the CPU, the RAM, and the graphics card out of it, and then yeah, and then flip the rest of the parts. Oh yeah, I'm estimating like end of 2026 when prices get back to close to normal. Time to scrum through the garage pit, garbage pits. Yeah, we're getting to that point. At this point, that point, this point, and that point. Not cheap. All right, so Miles build again. Because of RAM prices and everything else being so stupid and expensive right now, you're going to see me do more budget-friendly builds probably more often, because less people are going to be willing to spend $640 on 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. So, with that being said, you're going to probably see a lot of this more often right now. AMD Ryzen 5 4500. I just got the 6 cores, 12 threads, a maximum boost of 4.1 gigahertz out of the box. We're going to be using the Arctic MX4 for the thermal paste. We're going to be cooling the CPU with a Thermalright Assassin X120 Refined SE. And then thank you, Jeff, over on the Facebook for the like. Much appreciated. I got very lucky. I got CL30 32 gigs DDR5 for $180, most 200 back at the end of September or early November. Yes, that was right when it was starting to go up. So 32 gigs, if you remember, like back in September, was around $100. CL30, 32 gigs. That was your typical price in September. And then right around the end of September, October, it really started climbing. That's when you noticed it, almost double. And then November, we're almost near triple prices. And now we're beyond triple. So, yay! With this RAM situation, Intel 12th gen, 13th, and 14th gen surprisingly has become a tempting option with DDR4 motherboards. True. I would just avoid 13th and 14th gen. So at this point, you're going to go with a 12th gen processor with a DDR4 like B760 motherboard or something for budget, and try to. And even 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM is like $150 right now. It's like $160 is like the cheapest I can find right now for 32 gigs DDR4, and most of them are $200. I was going to get a 9060 XT, but it went up almost $200 in the price. You should still be able to find easily a 9060 XT for around $300, 16 gigabyte card version of that for around $300, maybe $340. Let me pull up the data. Supplied Alder new in Q3. Intel supplied Alder new in Q3 and 14th, but not 13th. Not sure if I'm following you there, Mike. Might find good deals on server secondary. Aim 4 for the win. Hey, what's up, Ant-Man? Welcome back to the build show. All right. So, again, Assassin X120, refined SE, addressable RGB cooler for the CPU cooler. We got a MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi. I love these micro ATX motherboards. They're a little high right now, but I think that's because of the holiday demand. These are very popular for more AM4 budget builds because they have the addressable RGB headers. They have the USB-C, USB 3, and 2 M.2 slots or ports on the board. So it's a very popular board because of all the features it has on the board, and it has the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. So it makes, if you're a PC builder like me, this is like a go-to motherboard that you see often. At least it should be. I find the value very good for what you get out of the board. And the fact that it has a ARGB rainbow header on the bottom and the top of the motherboard makes it very nice and simplifies building in it. Yes, get the milk. It caps at 7,500 megabits per second. What happens if you use Gen 5 M.2 on AM4? Yeah, Gen 5 drive would just run at Gen 4 speeds if you have a CPU that supports PCIe Gen 4 on a motherboard that supports PCIe Gen 4. Because remember, B450s and X470s don't support PCIe Gen 4. And just as an example, the 60 or the 4500 does not, and neither does the 5500. And some of the G series CPUs do not support PCIe 4.0. So you could have a range of different results based off the CPU, the motherboard, and the SSD. That is the correct answer. Intel supplied 3,366,752 units of Ultra Aero and 60,781,835 units of 14th and 12th, mostly 14th though, on OEMs submitting their warranty. Oh geez, that's the warranty. Wow. Ant-Man says, okay. Should I wait for AM6 if I have the Intel Ultra 7 265K? I mean, Intel Ultra 7 265K is fine. You're going to be fine on that for a while. What's Max doing? He's down here hanging around. I don't know. Just hanging around. He's napping right now, actually. Just chilling. So, alright. E550M motherboard. We got 32 gigs of the RAM that I found out I don't like. I'm hoping this kit does not have the same problem that I had with its with the previous kit that I had here. If so, I have another kit I'm going to use for it. I just want to double verify that I don't like this kit. Anyway, I had issues getting XMP running with this kit last time I ran this kit. I ended up returning that kit, but I already had orders in for more of these, unfortunately, because RAM was flying off the shelves, and I was like, buy now. So here we are. Ben, spoiler. The missus is getting you an iPhone for Christmas. No, she's definitely not. She knows better. I'm doing a micro ATX build. Hey, nice. Nice. That 60 million 14th 12th gen is the entire year's worth on one quarter, and yes, it's already been brokered by Intel OEM Dealing Group into the open market. I don't know what that means. So there should be good deals on so there should be good deals on 14th and 12th gen. R7K is also in a huge overage condition. They're probably going to see another massive overage because of the fact that the RAM prices are just so high right now. I'm already seeing, a drop off in sales. So you're not going to see the sales or the builds that you would typically see because it's just too damn expensive. It's dumb. It's dumb to spend $600 on 32 gigs of RAM. I don't even know why that number and 32 gigs is in the same sentence. $600 and 32 gigs should not be in the same sentence. This just hurt my heart. I just bought 32 gigs of RAM off of Amazon. I'm sorry. The only other thing you could do to get a better price on RAM, honestly, is buy a pre-built, pull the RAM out, and then sell the rest of the parts. And try to get your money back, and maybe you'll break even, or get close to breaking even, or at least it comes out to less, most times less than $600. But or go on the used market, and hopefully you find somebody that hasn't opened their Facebook or watched a YouTube video in a while and found out what the prices are doing. And any of those deals, as soon as they pop up, you got to be like in the car driving to them without even knowing where they are, kind of situation, because that deal is not going to last on Marketplace or any used marketplace very long. There's other snipers out there ready to snipe that RAM right out of your hands. Yo, 5600, this is actually a 4500. We're with the RAM prices, everything's kind of more budgety, unfortunately. Because when you have to pay $150 for 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM with a offer brand, and also $100 for 1 terabyte SSD, this I think was 90 something dollars, then your $600 budget gets blown right out of the water really fast. Yeah, so you can get the Ryzen 5 5500 for $75, although the 4500 and the 5500, let's be honest, is pretty close to the same CPU. 4500 is okay. Yes. When somebody says pick either the 4500 or the 5500, I usually choose the 4500 because it's basically the same CPU. And also, welcome to the build show, Plida. Is that Plida? If you type !build into the chat, it'll actually spit out all the specs for the build that we're doing right now. And so far, I've only gotten up to the motherboard. We talked a little bit about the RAM, which is 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz. There's two 16 gig sticks in there. Again, I hope we are not going to run into the same problem I had. Hope that was just a hardware issue with that particular kit that I had. And again, I do have another kit available if we do run into issues with it. The SSD is by King Spec. This is a 1 terabyte NX series. King Spec SSD. It's a Gen 3 drive. There's nothing super crazy about this, but Gen 3 is still more than enough speed for today, gaming today. So load times won't be slow. They'll be pretty snappy. The graphics card we're going to be running is the GeForce RTX 3060. This is an 8 gig card. We were targeting a 12. Those ran out of stock. So, sorry, but we're stuck with the 8 gig card. Unfortunately, I would have much rather have put the 12 gig version in here instead of the 8. But those were gone by the time we got to ordering the parts. Next is the case, which is a Cooler Master Elite 302, which is a micro ATX case, very similar to the Montech Air 100 style case. We are going to add an additional fan to the rear, and then we have a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply by Sedgwick. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the build that we're starting off with, which is build number 121 miles. This one's for you. Let's go. Move some of this out of the way as we get started on the build. 5600 is a good choice. I do not recommend the 5500. I agree. But when it comes to a tight budget, sometimes you have to do that. They have two or all the CPUs will sit at broker resale. Okay, gotcha. It's much more than OpenAI BS that is all on paper. I know. It was like the perfect storm for everything to happen, as everybody keeps saying is AI. I mean, ultimately, that was the big tamale that screwed up the whole flow, but there was more to it. Everybody started backing down on production. So everything was slowing down because the demand wasn't there. It was slow. And that's because of the economy. Everyone is sucking up. And then also, yes, you're right. So on top of them slowing down production, on top of the AI server farms gobbling up 40% of the entire flow, we'll call it flow of memory out to the world. 40% of it's gobbled up by AI server farms. On top of that, now you have all these OEMs and system builders and resellers that jumped in as soon as there was a sniff of a problem. They jumped in and bought up all the inventory, put in big orders, submitted whatever. All the inventory is basically gone at this point. It's all claimed for, gone, shipped. No new inventory is going anywhere else until they make more. And they may not be making more for another couple months. So there's going to be a delay, a ripple effect in the massive pool of memory. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. It's going to suck. So if you could hold off on buying memory for like a year, do that. Because it's not going to get any better anytime soon. The PC kit channel was clearing so well, and then AI concerned wafers above design manufacture MFG and manufacturing. And as soon as wholesale trade and retail saw that, they jacked the prices. Yes, of course, they're gonna capitalize. Everyone is sucking up stock, worried about gaming in the near future. Well, big companies are, yes. Little companies like me can't. I can't afford to throw that much money in a product that might stick around on that price point. Here's the problem with small company. Right now, if I were to go buy or put in a huge order for memory at a higher premium price right now, and it sits and I don't go through it and sell it, that's a gamble. Because then the price will eventually drop off. And when's the next time RAM's going to be that expensive? May not ever happen. So I could potentially take a huge loss Hence the reason why I don't do that. I'm too small to do that. I'm in the same boat as you guys. Everybody that comes to me, they're like, do I have any like magic memories sitting around? I'm like, nope. It's all pretty much used up. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this build going. Boing. It's build time. The FTC 9341 monitor is not happy. What do you mean by that? Steve Anderson, I got 64 gigs of DDR4 in May for $105. Actually, it's sad. Makes me depressed. Yes, I would like to open this. Well, that's a discount MSI board. This one? What are you talking about? This is a Pro VDH P550. Stock cooler, please. We're already going to be building with the Thermalright Assassin X120 refined SE ARGB. So the stock cooler is down there, tucked to the side. If you're asking, do you want it? You're more than welcome to have it. I have like 100 of them here. We don't build with them. Yeah, Thermaltake's a good brand. Why we run it. And for $18 or so that it costs for the cooler, it's a much better cooler than the stock cooler. It is well worth the $18. One of the few things that hasn't jumped around in price. I ordered LG 34-inch monitor. Hope that it's a good monitor. LG is usually pretty good. I don't know about the specs. The brand generally brands could be good. Cases and case here really inexpensive right now. Yeah, you get pretty good deals on stuff. Frozen Fusion, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Yo, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oysterhead, welcome back to the Build Show. How much DDR4 is in this build? 16 or 32? This is 32 gigs. Thankfully, pre-new price. Really like my 5800 XT, plus the Wraith Prism Cooler is a nice touch, stylish, stands out, and both I got for $1,983. Steve, I know you meant 183. I'm just teasing you. You sound like me when I bought my RTX 3070 Ti for like $2,000. Crazy. Mike says 5800X, 6800, 32 gig, plus 6 terabyte in June 2022. I'm not upgrading anytime soon. Hello. All right, let's zoom on out. There's my foot. I'm building barefoot because I'm in Santa's workshop. Okay, he has like a no shoe thing. I didn't wear socks, so don't ask questions. Don't judge the feet. Savvy? DDR4 is going up too. Unfortunately, everything's going up. It's not done. It's not done. It's still going up. And it's going to keep going up. Hold on. It's going to keep going up. That's what's going to happen. I keep telling people, I'm like, 2 months ago, everybody, oh, I'll just wait for the price to come back. It's not coming down. It's just going to keep going up until it finally stops because nobody's buying it. I'm waiting until November next year. At this point, basically, whatever bed you've made, meaning whatever RAM you currently own, and or storage, which isn't that bad yet. Storage is going to get worse. That's the storage RAM you're probably going to stick with for the next year. Keep that in mind. I'm screwed because I'm trying to find 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM. I'm in the same boat, and that's for me. And there's no way in hell I'm spending $800 on 64 gigs of RAM, or 900 or 1,000 or whatever it is now. I refuse to do that. So my plan is, all right, hear me out. For my build, because you guys know I'm in the middle of trying to sort out a build, an upgrade. I've got an X670E motherboard that was repaired by Asus, and I'm never going to use that in a customer build, so I'm going to just donate it to my build. And I have a 1200 watt power supply that came from Seasonic after an RMA replacement. And I have some fans, and I did have RAM, but I ended up having to give that up. I gave that to somebody. That was dumb, because I did that like 2.5 months ago. Anyway. Just laugh it off. Anyway, my plan is, for my build, I'm going to buy a power spec PC from Micro Center with 64 gigs of RAM and an RTX 5080. They're like, sometimes you can find an open box one for like $2,200. So if 64 gigs of RAM currently is $1,000, half of that is basically covered, right? And then I'm also getting a 5080 and a 9800X 3D out of the deals. So I can get the storage, 2 terabyte storage. And then all I'm left with is a case, a cooler that I'm never going to use, and a power supply, which I can sell all 3 of those. So hell of a lot cheaper than buying $1,000 of RAM and $1,000 $1,400 graphics card and a $450 CPU at like $2,500. I'm spending like 22-ish hundred, and I'm getting other parts out of the build. I could even put components back in there and then flip it. But that is basically my plan at this point. That's the cheapest way to go if I want to just walk into a store and buy something. The other option is to gamble on the used market, which I hate. I hate gambling on used parts. I'm so tired of having to test every little thing, everything, to find out that something's broken. Best viewers. Oh boy. Somebody get the fan hammer out. You're going back to hard drives? I don't blame you. Bye. You will not archive on Flash. Owner, good to see those Cooler Master chassis. Very good price. Yes, this was one of those really good priced chassis, because when your RAM is almost $200 and your SSD is $100 for a terabyte and 32 gigs of RAM, so $300 in RAM and SSD, you gotta save money somewhere. So you look to the chassis. That's where you save the money. That's always the first thing to get cut. Do you really need a chassis? No. Technically you don't. Point is, when things are expensive, that's the first place you start cutting. You've made tape. Yeah. All right. That we are going to add one rear fan here. Technically on the order, it states that we're only going to leave the 3 fans and we weren't going to put a fan in here. I hate myself for not adding the fan, so I'm going to add the fan. I think the rig looks so much better, and the airflow does so much better with the cooler because there's no rear fan here for exhausting the heat coming off of the CPU, even though it's like, what, a 60 watt? Not even that. Won't get that hot, but still, it would make me feel better. Chefy Tech, what's up, man? Welcome back to the Build Show. Hello, FY. Didn't get any notices of the stream on YouTube or Twitch. Okay, I mean, if you guys don't want to watch me anymore, I won't cry. I might eat a gallon of chocolate ice cream, but that's about it. And Cloud is out. So here's our Thermalright fan for the rear. We're going to add. Seagate Enterprise hard drives, 4 terabyte, $85. I've been wasting my money on NVMe. Yeah, but the NVMEs are a lot faster. Even so. That is a good option, though. Slap a alternative for the SSD price hikes if you guys need bulk storage but need a fast OS drive. Just slap like a 512 gigabyte in there for, what are they, 50 bucks right now? Around $50. And then grab a hard drive for your bulk storage for now. Go back. We're going back. We have to go back. Just download more RAM, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know what, that's a really good idea. I should put on my website, my store, RAM in sizes that you can download, and then people will try to check out with it, and it's literally called downloadable RAM for your computer. Very misleading. Charge people like a penny. See how many downloads I get? The other thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to go buy a van, which is cheaper than RAM right now, by the way. A used van with no windows, like a work van. And I'm going to paint on the side of it free RAM. See how many nerds I catch. I feel like we'll catch. I mean, if I saw a van that said free RAM on the side, I would 100% climb into the back of it. Probably a bad decision, but, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You've got to be kidding me. RAM GPU more expensive than some GPU. Yeah, RAM's more expensive. I want to build a NAS, but the hard drive prices have gone bonkers. Still cheaper in bulk. Figure I've been saying that for years. I'm going back to a regular phone that hangs on the kitchen wall. I don't blame you. You could probably pick one up for 10 cents at the resale shop right now. You might want to get to that before these prices get insane and we go into this like tech recession where landline phones become gold. You know? All right. We are practically ready to drop a graphics card in here, which is going to be the Zotac RTX 3060 8 gig. And then we're going to drop the power supply next. And then we've got some cable management to do. Yeah, I think I'm going to cancel the 5070 Ti and get the 5060 Ti. Saved about $800. What are you playing, though? Set into RAM. I mean, honestly, if you could buy both, I would still go with the 5070 Ti. That's got 4 horsepower under the hood. So if you're playing 1440p, you can do it with the 5060 Ti 16 gig version of the 5060 Ti, but the 5070 Ti is definitely going to be way more powerful. Ultimately, what I want to get is a 5070 Ti as well. At least. I've stayed in the Ti club for a while. I had a 1070 Ti, and then I had now I have a 3070 Ti. May as well go to a 5070 Ti. And stick with the theme of 2-generation leap. 3D model in AutoCAD and some gaming, yeah, you're fine with the 5060 Ti. The VH. But I still would get the 16 gig version over the 8 gig version. The 8 gig model is not that much cheaper than the 16 gig model. So it just doesn't make sense to get this. Thank you for the sub, my strict dragon. Welcome to the Empower family. Great on the name. Music Maker. What's up, man? 9? What is 9? 9 is the number of no in German? I don't know. 9! Toasty. Netfish. Did we change a name? What's 9? I appreciate you. Family is my build. Or I appreciate family. This is my build. Oh, what's up, man? Welcome, Miles. Ben, I saw... So, Toasty, welcome to the Build Show. Ben, I saw one of the best football games ever last night. It went overtime. Yeah, I did see that game. I saw the tail end of it in overtime with Matthew Stafford under the gun. Gotta get hit. Gotta go down. I was a Lions fan. That's all we heard. Rams versus Seahawks. Yes. Last night. That was a... I honestly thought the Seahawks were cooked at, what was it, 14-30? I was like, man, these guys are done. They've checked out. Then all of a sudden their defense had that return for a TD, and next thing you know, Sam Darnold is throwing the ball again. Or no, they had a, what was it, a run? Was it a run touchdown? Running bit? I can't remember. No, it was the tight end. I still think it's going to be Ram versus Bills. I don't know. The Lions are getting it. The Lions are getting in. Green Bay has lost their defense. They're not going to win another game this year. And the Bears aren't even real this year. Ben Johnson has no idea what he's doing. Exactly. Lions are too, but that's okay. Lions are getting in this year, and we're going places. Okay? We're going places. Green Bay lost that defender. What's his name? That pass rusher. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's done for the season. Lions probably should have picked him up in the offseason before the season even started, but I mean, that's besides the point. Aiden Hutchinson and whatever his name is, I can't remember. Disgusting. Play every passing play, you'd be fucking with tight ends. Double team both of them. That game was a very exciting game. And it wasn't the Lions. Okay. I watch other football games. User! What's up, man? Welcome to the Build Show. Got another 9. I don't know what 9. Somebody in the young department help me. Help me before I have a mental breakdown. Better not be more of that 6-7 crap. I say that very jokingly. We're just joking around, I know. That's why I think I'm going to lose my mind. You know? What does 6-7 mean? Nobody really actually knows, do they? Nobody really knows. But my kids do it. And I don't know if I should be offended or excited. I don't know how I should feel. I feel so confused. Okay, maybe I went overkill on the size this go around, but okay. Non-sensual interjection. I agree with that. That's what I assume it is. Nonsense. Ah. There we go. That maybe price it by everything. Miles, it is near time. Okay, I did what you suggested. I canceled the 5070 Ti OC and went with the 5060 Ti. Then you can take that extra savings and put it towards storage or SSD. Ah! All right, there she is in all her glory. Hopefully, that's clean enough for you. We used about 80 zip ties for that one. You ready for this? I just gotta clean up this hardware. Then we'll get you on the side view of your build. And then you will have to tell us when to fire this thing up. You can make us sit here all night. Here we go. Multi-view. No, we don't need the multi-view. You guys like the multi-view? Multi-view. You guys like the multi... GG. Not letting anyone sleep. That's all, folks. All right. Let's bump this guy up a little bit because he's like looking at the feet. Maybe a little bit of a zoom out here. And we gotta refocus this bad boy. I think that looks good. Looking good. Miles, it is, you tell me when to push that button, and then I'll push it. There's a slight delay on YouTube for folks over on the Twitch side. What's up, King? welcome back to the Build Show. Or welcome to the Build Show, first time chat. We're just waiting on Miles over on YouTube to give us the go ahead. Thank you for the follow. Miles is going to give us the green light to smash that power button and see what this build looks like for the very first time. How are you guys doing? We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Pretty good. Trying to get some builds done before Christmas here. And now it gets really busy. Some giant idiot. Thank you. Always having my back. All right, Miles, which I hope this is actually Miles because I have no way of confirming that. Miles says, let's fire it up. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Guys, this is the kind of faith that Miles has in me building his PC. He thinks it's going to blow up. So let's find out. 3, 2, 1. I'm joking. Okay, I didn't actually push the button. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, bam. Fans are spinning, so that's a good sign. Where the RGB? So, we are posting still. Don't know what the deal is. There we go. It's posted. Interesting that we don't have any RGB though. So I might have bumped the switch. Oops. There it is. Did it post? Yes. Steve, we have a post. And I accidentally bumped the little switch. So, for those of you who don't know, the MSI B550M Pro VDH, B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi has a little switch at the bottom for LEDs. So if you bump the switch to the off position, there won't be any RGB. There's a little switch, King, on the bottom of the board, right next to the front panel connector for the power button. So if you look up the schematics of the board, there's a little dinky, teeny, tiny switch that's very easy to bump when you're putting cables in through the hole there, which I think I bumped it with the PCIe cable that I pushed through. Interesting. Oh, no. We have RGB. We do. Look at that. There it is. Oh, my bad. I bumped it. But it's okay. That's why we do this. Oops. Sorry, it bounced that camera. You just went on a ride there. Dang, this PC looks good. What kind of specs does it have? So this is more of your, I would say, more budget-friendly. And we're going to be doing a lot of budget-friendly builds with these prices right now, so just keep that in mind. We're not going to be doing, like, Ryzen 9 9950X 3D with 5090s. Unless somebody's, like, sold their house or something. So these are probably going to be very popular through this tech recession. But it is a Ryzen 5 4500 with 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 on a B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi with a 1 terabyte King Spec NX Gen 3 PCI Gen 3 SSD with a 650 watt 80 plus gold Sagittep power supply. And this is a Cooler Master Elite 301 micro ATX case. The cooler is a Thermalright Assassin X120 SE refined SE cooler with the 120 millimeter adjustable RGB PWM fan, 4 heat pipes on the cooler, and then the graphics card is an RTX 3060 8GB, which is plentiful for this rig is plentiful for 1080p gaming. You can literally play whatever game you want on this just fine in 1080p. I'm pretty sure you could build a $100 PC and have it be better than mine. Oh, jeez. Don't say that. $100 right now can barely buy you anything on the used marketplace. Everything's so expensive. Love it, bro. Nice. Dual controller. I'll watch for it. Yes, AM4 is still a legendary chipset. Still going strong. How many builds you doing tonight? We're probably just going to get to the 2 because we're at about 10 o'clock here. So we're looking at about an hour per build. And if I want to get up early and get a stream going early and try to pound out as many builds as I can live tomorrow, then I need to go to bed at some sort of decent hour tonight. So the sacrifice is tonight we're going to probably just do 2 builds, and then tomorrow we are going to try to pound out 4, if not 5 builds. We'll see. Tomorrow will be the big day. Again, all depending on how early I get started, which I want to try to get going early. What was for dinner tonight? Tonight we had burgers because we were just exhausted. I have an Intel UHD graphics 620 and an i5 8350U. So that sounds more like a laptop. Yes, beef burgers in this economy. I bet Ben is all about them DDR5 RAMs. Oh yeah, I'm trying to find 64 gigs of DDR5 for my rig that'll support AMD Expo. It's a laptop, yeah. Gotcha. Oh, it's not bad. I mean, laptop's good. Still, at least you can move around. I can't. I'm strapped like a chain and ball here. My PC. Second build today, owner? Yes. We are going to do build number 2. Well, actually, build number 122. With that being said, this is your build, Miles. We still have to obviously load Windows, do the BIOS updates, some settings in BIOS like the XMP settings and fans. And then we also got to do the driver installs and then do the battle testing. And then it will be ready for pickup. So if it's not ready for pickup tomorrow, I will for sure have it ready for pickup by Sunday. So this weekend for sure, as long as everything works and I don't have to order another part to replace something, that is, if it passes its battle test. Right now I'm addicted to half a sword, but I have to play at 480p at lowest settings for 30 FPS. Dang. Yeah, that's definitely the graphics card, which is the Intel onboard graphics, that's holding you back there. There's not much you can do with the laptop, unfortunately. Congratulations, Miles! Thanks for the PC. You're going to have a great Roblox gameplay on there. Yeah, you'll be able to pretty much play anything you want on this. Pretty much anything you want. Feel like yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and shut this guy down and we'll get started on the next build. I'm just happy I can play PC games though. Hey, I hear you. Let me switch the view. We're just gonna get I moved over to the next bench. Oh. Whoa! That's right. Another AIM-4 build. Another B550M. That's better. Yeah. Do 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 do. There we go. Build number 122 for 2025 is going to be another AIM-5. I'm sorry. Crap. I already messed this up. Forget it. I'm joking. Okay. So build number 122 is an AIM-4 build. Jen said she probably would not be in the chat tonight. Jen is actually mom, and this is for the kiddo. So, also, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a Christmas present. So, probably not going to see this until after Christmas. So I'll send them the link, and I already told them where we're going to be tonight with the build, but she said she would make sure they see the build stream when they open it up. So, all right. So build number 122 today is for 2025 is going to be an AIM-4 build. It's an AMD Ryzen 5 5600. So here's your 5600, Mike, that you were asking about earlier. Just got the 6 cores, 12 threads, and a maximum boost of 4.4 gigahertz out of the box. There is no special contact frame we're using for AM4. The Arctic MX4 is going to be the thermal paste that we're going to be utilizing. We're also going to be using the Aqua Elite. This is V6 version 6 is the first time I'm actually building with version 6 of the Aqua Elite. So kind of stoked about that. Pretty much the same cooler to my knowledge, other than a different look on the block itself with the RGB and whatnot. And then we're going to be putting that all on a MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard. And we have 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 dual channel two sticks. And it's going to be King Bank is the brand name, which is also in the color white. So if you haven't noticed, we have a white cooler, white RAM, we have a white case. Was trying to get a white card, but not within this price point, unfortunately. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 8GB graphics card, which is GDDR7 at 128 bits. Up to PCI 5.0, but on this particular build, it's going to be running PCI 4.0 with the 5600 and the B550M motherboard combination. So the case is the Thermaltake View 170, which is a micro ATX case. It is white. We do have some white extension cables we're going to be adding. We have a 1 terabyte Team Group MP44 that I forgot to mention. The MP44L, for those of you who don't know. The difference between the L and the non-L is about 2,000-ish megabits per second. And then we have a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply by no one else other than Sedgwick for the budge. That is build number 122 that we're going to be doing tonight. And this will be the final build that we do tonight. So let's get started, shall we? And I actually didn't collect that this is going to. So really quick, Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoy the build. Today's build is brought to you in part by Jen. Thank you, Jen. While I'm here watching UFC. Nice. All right, so there's some chats over on the Twitch side. Is the new 50 series good? I'm new to PCs. I've heard a lot of mixed options on it. So it's mixed options because, you know, we look at generation leaps, raw performance before FSR or DLSS, which both of those are frame gen. Before those were things, raw performance was a big deal on a card. The reason why the 5000 series gets a lot of, I guess, hate, especially on their more budget-friendly cards, like the 5060, 5050, 5060 Ti versus the 8 gig and the 16. That's probably where the most hate is between the 5060 Ti and the 5060 Ti. I guess the 8 gig versus the 16 model and the 5060 Ti. Anyway, I think that's why, actually, 5000 series gets a lot of flack, just because the 5060 Ti 8 gig and 16 model. They're not very different in price, but one's cheaper to make than the other. And they really only marketed the 5060 Ti 16 gig performance over the 8 gig performance when they were pushing it out and releasing it, and kind of hush hush, here's an 8 gig model. When people that weren't very educated were shopping for a 5060 Ti that they saw reviewed on YouTube, they didn't know to check for like 16 gig versus 8 gig because nobody really knew that was like a big deal. Or they just didn't know the difference between the two. So a lot of people buy the 8 gig model thinking they're getting 16 gig performance. So that's why a lot of, poo got thrown at NVIDIA because of that issue. And then not to mention, like, most of the 3060s had 12 gigs of VRAM, and then the 4060 and 5060 came out with only an 8 gig model. So there's kind of some flack thrown there. Whereas before, like, 3060 at 12 gig was, like, totally dope. How do NVIDIA cares about us gamers, and now they're doing this kind of crap, or they're It's all about money, ultimately, is what it comes down to. But no, there is nothing wrong running a 50 series card. In fact, it's probably better these days because more and more titles are starting to support and actually require DLSS to run in order to get some really good frames. Yes, VRAM is really important when it comes to higher resolution. So the higher the screen resolution you go, the more VRAM you're going to need. And then, of course, VRAM is also utilized in different ways on different types of applications. So it really depends on what you're doing. My dog just walked up. My dog's laying right next to me. And Max has been farting all night, and I've been sitting here just choking on it in front of you guys. And you guys haven't noticed it. I've been just taking it like a man. If you have a 3060, then upgrade to a 5060, but not if you have a 4060. That is to how I feel. I agree with that, Steve. So if you have a 4060, there's no reason. There's not a big enough upgrade to go from a 4060 to a 5060. It just doesn't make sense to do that. There's just not enough of an upgrade shelf there. Bryman, thank you for the follow over there on the Twitch. Bryman, are you by chance Bryman, the guy that I know? The Brian I know? Or no? Are you a different Brian? No, you're not. Okay. Had to check. I know he has a really crappy laptop. I don't remember if he has a dog. I don't think he does. But I was starting to put two and two together there. Yeah, so let's get building. Yeah, encoding is also important when it comes to other tasks. Encoding. The encoder. There's our Ryzen 5 5600. Now we're going to go ahead and get our memory installed. The King Bank. I'm pretty sure we went 32. I love how they don't say on the box. Yes, we're at 32 gigs. DDR4 3200 CL16. Says it on the stick, at least. I guess it's more silver than white. Next is our 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, which is the MP44L. And if you guys were following on the Discord channel, you would have seen that I posted a complaint about Amazon, or yeah, it was Amazon this time, sending me a SATA SSD for this SSD. So I had to wait for the replacement to get here after I realized that had happened. I discovered that last weekend. Or I could have done this build last weekend. Oh, gosh. Really? idiot put a sticker on this thing. Let's see here. I think I just found gold, a 16 gigabyte DDR5 for 250 on Newegg. That'd be 32 gigs at $500. Not bad. All things considered. What specs would you recommend for my first PC, and should I build it or do a pre-built? Depends on the price. 270, probably after shipping and tax, right? What do you do with all the PCs you're building? Do you have a business? Yes, this is a business, and these are all customers that have already purchased the PC, and now we're just building it for them live because I have nothing else better to do. Joking, but no, it's just a perk. A lot of people enjoy it, get a kick out of it, especially the younger folks. All right, so now that we have the motherboard ready to go, we're going to get the case out, which is, again, just as a reminder, Thermaltake VU170 is what we're using in white. So brace your eyeballs, it's going to get bright. At most, probably have an $800 budget. Yeah, you could still do a pretty good, build at $800. Yeah, that's 16 gigabytes, $200. You want to throw up a little bit. Not that hard. Box. Oh, I bought 32 for about $700. That's an other piece. Yeah. Dude. Yeah, so that moment when Gandalf the Grey turns into Gandalf the White, you're like, ah, it's so bright. You know, that kind of moment. We just went from building in a black case to a white case. Is very bright. Anyway, go. Actually, you should double check. Make sure we don't have any brackets for this cooler. I'm pretty sure these just use the AM5 brackets. But again, it's E6, so I don't know if they changed that. Version 6 may have changed. Check the manuals. Ah, they do. Take care of that before we put this board in here. Although we probably could have done it there, regardless, it made that big of a difference. All right, there we go. We got our brackets in. Nice. Pat Sword? No, I haven't ever. I don't get to play many games. I'm busy building everybody else's. So I don't get to play a lot of games. When I do, like maybe 1 or 2 games that I play with friends. That's about all I get to do. I should have some time here after Christmas to catch up on a few things. Play a couple games, relax. But I've got other projects that I was supposed to have done, or not done. Got a couple of them. That's probably what I'll be doing on my off time. Gonna have to do. I accidentally put the wrong screw in here. Go. Starting to come together, huh? Slowly but surely. Come together. Alright, so last turning pingboard. Yep. It is on the side. All right. Finally, we got these cables pushed through to the front side. Official Leroy, the official Leroy. Hey man, got a question. What's your question? And while you are typing that out, sorry I had to leave and make out some Christmas cards. No problem, Steve. While you're writing that question out, I'm going to say goodnight, I think, to somebody. So give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Official Leroy, you still have that question, hit me up. Oh, and Lupin over on Kick. I have no idea how long you've been there, sorry. I am so bad at checking Kick chat. All right, all those connections are in. The next, we're going to do our EPS and our 24-pin cable for our power supply. For motherboard and power. This motherboard's a little bit unique, so I'm not going to make it as fancy as you probably think I am going to make it, because it is a unique board. Unfortunately, because there is zero space here on the side, typically you would route this down and to the back, obviously not through the front of the PC, but through a hole here, but you cannot because of how tight it is here. So you either have to go up, over, through this way, or down under. I think we're going to go up and over for this one, and I'm not going to put the combs in because it's wide. Which means I need more ties. This one anyway. All right, now ready. Wood mounts. The official Leroy never got back to us, so probably didn't want to wait for me to respond to his question about a question. If you got questions, just drop it in the chat and I'll answer. If I'm heads down working on something, it might take me a minute to get to it. Hey, Pompey. Looking pretty good. What CPU should I get for a 9060 XT 16 gigabyte? I can't get any AMD CPUs because they're overpriced here. Well, more budget friendly. You can't get AMD. Intel i5 12600K. That would be an excellent processor that would run that 9060 XT 16 gigabyte just fine. That is what I would recommend if you're stuck on Intel running that AMD card. That is what I would do. I would get a Ryzen 5 5600X, but I ain't paying 290 bucks for that. Yeah, I wouldn't either. That's a little overpriced. But if you could get it like an i5 12400 or 12600, 12600 that would be kind of the better deal performance-wise per dollar if it's at the right price. Either one of those would be okay. You can even run it on an i3 if you wanted to. Alright, we're looking pretty good here, guys. I think next we can install the graphics card. Then we install a power supply. Do a little bit of cable management on the backside, which won't take very long because we've already done most of it. And then we fire this bad boy up. Which is the Asus Dual overclocked version of the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060. Gigabyte PCIe 5. But on this rig, it's running PCIe 4. The amount of peels you have to do on some of these cards is a little ridiculous. Yeah, looks good. King, excuse me, how is the 12600 KF $169 cheaper than the 12400F at $199? Maybe because of demand, 12400F is usually the cheaper version. The KF is usually more expensive, but if that's the case, take the 12600 KF. Got a couple more cores. No question yet. No, I think he moved on, Steve. Glad I didn't wait for him because we'd still be sitting here waiting. But almost done with this one. Kind of jacked up, but let's see what it does. I like white builds. Right. Color contrast is very powerful. Here you go. The white build. It is done. Although we had some weirdness on that EPS connection. I'm going to check that out. After we run this. Let me just clean up some of this hardware mess here for a second. And then we'll get this thing fired. On Jen's kiddo's behalf. Here, live. We'll fire it up on his behalf, or their behalf. I don't know. Daughter or son? Can't remember. I unfortunately talked to too many people. Too many parents this week. I can't remember. I try to remember. All right, get this thing plugged in and fired up. Yeah. Do. All right, here we go, guys. Side view. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. That white and black contrast. Even though it's not a white graphics card and a white motherboard, literally the only other two components that are black in the build, minus the power supply. That's noticeable. Very pretty. Clean. Thank you, Kingpen. And welcome to the Build Show. Chris over on Facebook, and Dustin, thank you also for the likes over there on Facebook. All right. So on Jen's behalf, who is not here live with us, nor is the kiddo that is receiving this PC on Christmas Day, guys. This thing's going to be under a tree to, how many days? Less than a week. 4, 5, 6? 6 days it'll be under, oh, anyway. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You ready? Let's do this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We might have unplugged one of the chains in there while we were cable managing. Oops, my bad. What happens when you cable manage too hard? Sometimes things get unplugged. There you go. Yeah. Looking nice and clean. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, King. Hey, what's up, Potato Army? Welcome back to the Build Show. You're not going to attack me with potatoes, are you? You need a PC. Well, the best thing you could do is get an order in. You're broke. Well, unfortunately, you don't have any very many donation options here right now. I donate a lot of PCs to the local community here in Michigan, but yeah, Jen's kiddo will be happy for this build. So if you're local, I might be able to help you. Anyway, guys, Jen, or Jen's kiddo, that's your name because I wasn't given a name. The build stream, Jen's kiddo. Merry Christmas. So I hope when you open this up and fire it up that you had as much fun as we had tonight building it. Although I think you're gonna have way more fun. Because it looked pretty boring there for a little while. Because I'm getting tired. It's 11:12 p.m. on Friday the 19th, December. I live in Canada. Canada's even harder for me to help you because I'm over here in Michigan. Anything I send across the border gets taxed, especially if it has a price tag on it, so it's even worse. Plus, if you ever lot something, it's more expensive for you here. So, yeah, works. You live in Canada too? LOL. Everybody says I live in Canada too, because I live in northern Michigan. And it's not even like northern. I'm like an hour north of Detroit. Everybody considers that Canada. It's like, nah, that's not Canada. Definitely not. You cross the border, then everybody starts saying A. How you doing, A? And it gets a little confusing at first, but Um, everybody there is pretty nice in Canada. All right. Just don't get into an argument with Canadians about hockey or beer, and you'll be okay. And stay away from maple syrup topics. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm joking. Detroit is not Canada. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. I'm an hour north of Detroit. So I guess you could consider like Detroit's suburbs still, but it's like not. It's not at all connected to the city. What if I drive there? We'd have to communicate ahead of time to figure something out, just to make sure I got something for you, because I would hate for you to drive here and be like, I'm here, and then me be like, I got nothing. But what happens usually, people will do PC upgrades here locally, local customers, and then I will ask them what they want to do with their old parts, and sometimes they'll say, I'll donate it to the channel. And as they donate parts to the channel, then I will put together a build and then give that away to somebody. So it might be, you know, AIM-4 hardware, just as an example. It's not going to be, I won't take like super old stuff. It's going to be usable stuff that you can game on in 1080p. And then I'll donate that to, like, for example, we already helped out a family this year. So for those of you who don't know, and which was kind of cool that we got to do. So stuff like that, especially during the holidays. So I kind of collect hardware throughout the year. Very slow process. And then typically, as people donate to the channel via subscriptions and whatnot, that money usually goes towards a $1 PC giveaway for our subscribers. So anybody that has a paid subscription on any of the platforms are pretty much automatically included. So, did you hear Connor Bedard hurt his arm? No, I didn't hear that. I'm not even sure who that is off the top of my head. Drawing a blank on the name. But there we have it, Jen. Or Jen's kiddo. Your build. Here. Built by yours truly. With nothing but passion for PCs. Do you know of Barron County, Wisconsin? My dad lived there for 11 years. From 1934 to 1945. I'll be honest with you, I've never stepped foot into Wisconsin. I'm not very familiar with the state or the places there, unfortunately, even though it's, you know, technically a neighbor of ours, in a way. It's just, you gotta get through. It takes a bit to get there, so I'm not like that far north in Michigan. Excuse me. Can I tell you a super duper Sigma budget build? Well, a super duper Sigma. I love that. I feel like my 13-year-old's talking to me. Sorry. A Sigma build would be, or a budget build, would be a Ryzen 5. If you, and this is United States priced dollars. I don't know what the pricing is over in Canada. I know it is going to be different for you. A Ryzen 5 4500 is your like key budget processor, and then a B450 or a B550, preferably the B550M motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4 3200, and then your storage, you could start out with like a 512 SSD, 512 gig, which is could be more than enough to install Windows and maybe 1 or 2 games. But that's going to be your limitation, is 1 or 2 games. That's going to be like $50 here in the United States. You can run the stock cooler from the CPU. Oh. Hello there. Welcome back, Logitech. It appears Logitech decided to take a break there, sorry. But the camera. Where was I? Yeah, you could use the stock air cooler from the CPU. That'll save you about $20. And then after that, you would need a power supply, which there's a whole bunch of 500 watt options out there for like $40. So for example, the Thermaltake 500 watt 80 plus white is fine for something like a budget build like this. And then if you're looking for the like best bang for your buck graphics card, and you'll have to go to the used market to find this, is an RX 5700 XT. That is going to be coming in around $100 US. And you might even be able to talk the seller down if it's been sitting for a while, down to less. But that gives you 8 gigs of VRAM on a pretty powerful card. Your power supply, however, is going to be screaming at you as it's running, but the benefit is it's like a low wattage CPU that you're running in combination with a higher wattage graphics card. So as soon as you upgrade one or the other, you're going to need to upgrade your power supply later down the road, just for awareness. But that'll get you a really nice banger 1080p rig, probably around $550, $600. And then you can just upgrade things from there. But that's actually pretty close to what we built on the first PC of this build stream, except we did an RTX 3060, which was a little more expensive, and we also did a 650 watt power supply, which was more expensive, setting him up for better future upgrades. And then we also did the Thermalbright cooler, which is easier to maintain and will last longer. Dang. Steve Anderson says, okay, I received a bunch of my dad's stuff from his childhood. All his grades from elementary school through high school. He was very smart. Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool you get to check out your dad's report cards. Or grades, at least. Yeah, that's it. For 93 Canadian dollars, you're talking for the RX 5700 XT. Some good bargains out there for like a 1080 Ti, 150, 200, 2080 Ti. You could get an RTX 4060 for $200, and that'll get you DLSS, better DLSS for that's supported by most games, and that's when you start entering frame gen, which is what you want for more of a budget style computer, because the frame gen is going to assist that those FPS in a big way. And the DLSS on the 4000 series is way better than the 3000 series graphics cards. So yeah, Potato Army, if you want more help picking out some parts, so we're not trying to like rush you through this section, you know, as I'm trying to get off the stream, type in !Discord in the chat and then join the Discord, and then you can hit us up there, and you'll have access to not just me, but pretty much everybody that's ever been in the chat here, and you know, helping you answer questions and decide on parts, and we can do that more well thought through, and we can give you links to things so you can like copy and paste or do a PC part picker list, which will make it a lot easier for you to go out and pick out the parts and then buy them, knowing for sure that you got the right thing. How do you build PCs anyways? Well, if you watch the live streams, you'll watch me go from start to finish, every single one that we've built. So there's plenty of content here if you ever want to watch and learn. I'll be streaming again tomorrow, and then I'll probably be streaming again Sunday, and then I'll probably be streaming again Monday night. We have tons of builds leading up to Christmas. You're only 11. Yeah, so you got Got some saving to do to get there. Gotcha. Well, you won't be driving here, not without Mom and Dad's help. And I can't give you anything without Mom and Dad's consent either. So, just so you're aware, we would have to talk to your parents if you ever wanted to set something up like that. I don't know if I'm able to use Discord. I think you can set up an account, but I would definitely check with your mom and dad first. Or just follow us here and then come back when I'm live again tomorrow. We could keep working on your parts list. Mow lawns to make money, just not in the winter. In the winter, you're shoveling. You know, you gotta remember, landscaping is seasonal. Well, you could bookmark this link in your web browser, Potato Army, whenever the Empower AI decides to spit it back out in the chat. There it is. From the Streamlabs, that's the Discord channel. If you need, if your mom and dad approve you to create an account and join Discord, feel free to join the Discord channel there. And we do have age restrictions in our channels because we have a lot of younglings running around in our channel asking computer questions. so we usually stay pretty PG rated in the channel. I just subbed. Can I join the Discord? Oh, dude, you can join the Discord without subbing. But that's the link right there in the chat, Noah. And thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Some reason my Streamlabs isn't telling me that I got subbed. It does that after a couple of hours of streaming sometimes. Every now and then it bugs out and then doesn't give me the updates. I don't know why. I'll resend the link just to make sure you got it in the chat history. Go door to door asking if there's anything they can do, like cleaning snow, anything. Yeah. It's always a good idea, but also, before you go and do something like that, at your age, just check with mom and dad first. So they know what you're doing. There we have it. Jen's Kiddo's PC. Merry Christmas. This is all you guys are going to get out of me tonight. 11:26 p.m. here. Tomorrow we're going to be back building, hopefully, 4 rigs tomorrow. 3 to 4, we'll say. So, you want some more PC building action? Join us tomorrow. I don't know what time yet. Probably going to be early afternoon Eastern time. So, after 3 p.m. sometime. I just don't know when. Maybe 6. Who knows? It all depends on who's coming through this door tomorrow. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Merry Christmas. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And again, join the Discord channel if you haven't already. !Discord in the chat to come hang out. We'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, guys.